No Time to Die ending explained, Daniel Craig's grand finale. Major spoilers ahead. Warning, this article contains major spoilers for No Time to Die. Daniel Craig's tenure as James Bond comes to an end in No Time to Die, the newest Bond film that makes some of the most ambitious moves of the entire franchise. Indeed, No Time to Die is a groundbreaking Bond film in a lot of ways, but it also brings the arc of Craig's character to a close and satisfying, conclusive fashion, unlike most of his predecessors. So let's get into it, the No Time to Die ending, those plot twists, Easter eggs you may have missed, and how it brings the story of Daniel Craig's James Bond to a definitive end. The villain's evil plan. The plot of No Time to Die is complicated to say the least. But the film picks up where we left off with Spectre as Bond and Dr. Madeleine Swan are trying to live a peaceful life of retirement. But when Bond is attacked by Spectre, he suspects Swan has double-crossed him and pushes her out of his life for good. Or so he thinks. The film's opening scene explains how Swan is connected to Rami Malek's villain Lucifer Safin. He's the man who came to Madeleine's house when she was a child, looking for Madeleine's father Mr. White. But when he only found Madeleine and her mother, he killed Madeleine's mother and spared the child's life. This comes full circle as the film flashes forward 5 years after Bond and Swan broke up, and Safin is now a bioterrorist in possession of a biological weapon that, when released, can target specific individuals' DNA. It's used in No Time to Die to kill every member of Spectre while leaving innocent bystanders in the room unharmed. But as we barrel towards the movie's conclusion at Safin's island lair, where he's holding Madeleine and her young daughter Mathilde hostage, Safin reveals his intention to unleash the weapon on the world at large, plunging it into chaos. A ticking clock. Bond descends upon Safin's lair and manages to get Madeleine and Mathilde out safely. But he stays behind to ensure that missiles that fires from nearby ships will destroy the lair for good. In order for the missiles to wipe out every trace of the bioweapon before it's unleashed, Bond has to open the blast doors from a control room. With Q's help, Bond manages to get the doors open, only for Safin to close them again. The clock is ticking as the missiles have already been launched, and Bond and Safin get into a fist fight during which Safin breaks a vial of the bioweapon on Bond's head. Safin reveals that this is a version of the bioweapon tied directly to Madeleine's DNA, which means that if Bond comes into contact with Madeleine or Mathilde, he'll kill them instantly. Bond shoots Safin, and now resigned to his fate makes his way back to the control room to open the blast doors again. He confirms with Q that once exposed to the bioweapon, it cannot be cleaned off, it's eternal in Q's own words. He cannot leave this island alive. Q patches Bond in to speak with Madeleine one last time, who immediately understands there's no coming back. The two share a tearful goodbye, and we watch as Daniel Craig's Bond stares out at the ocean while missiles rain down on him. Does James Bond really die? Yes indeed, No Time to Die marks a first for the franchise in that it literally kills off James Bond. Craig's character makes the ultimate sacrifice, and the scenes that follow, a eulogy and a final goodbye from Madeleine and Mathilde, make clear that James Bond is dead. It's an ambitious move, but one that the film makes skillfully. Since Casino Royale, Craig's Bond has been a different breed from his predecessors. A more empathetic, more thoughtful, more vulnerable iteration of the character. To that end, a selfless sacrifice makes perfect sense as an ending. We've watched Craig's Bond try to peacefully retire multiple times now, only to always get pulled back into another scheme. Always looking for a happy ending, never finding it. This time he didn't get near enough time to spend with his family, but his sacrifice ensures they'll have, in his words, all the time in the world. Is Mathilde really James Bond's daughter? Another major twist in No Time to Die involves the revelation that James Bond may or may not have a daughter. When Mathilde is first revealed in the third act, Madeleine insists she's not James' daughter. But Bond is smarter than that, and immediately points out her blue eyes. The film doesn't try to hide the true nature of Bond's relationship to Mathilde, and Madeleine confirms once and for all that he's the father during their final phone call together. just moments before Bond dies. So yes, while it's slightly ambiguous throughout, Mathilde is James Bond's daughter. How No Time to Die connects to On Her Majesty's Secret Service. The deeply romantic and tragic nature of No Time to Die, while effective, is not entirely new to the franchise. 1969 single quote S On Her Majesty's Secret Service found Bond falling in love with a woman named Tracy and going so far as to get married to her, only for Blofeld to return at the very end of the film and kill her. George Lazenby's Bond is devastated, and while cradling her lifeless body he says to a police officer, "There's no hurry, you see. We have all the time in the world." In No Time to Die, Bond tells Madeleine that she and Mathilde have all the time in the world during their final phone call. And the Louis Armstrong song All the Time in the World plays over the end credits of the film. No Time to Die even foreshadows a tragic ending, as composer John Barry's theme We Have All the Time in the World from On Her Majesty's Secret Service is a recurring motif throughout Hans Zimmer's score for No Time to Die. Is there a post-credit scene? Given that this is Daniel Craig's final Bond movie, some may be wondering if No Time to Die has a post-credit scene. As with all Bond movies before it, the answer is no. However, the film concludes with the classic James Bond will return at the very end of the credits, promising that despite Craig's departure the franchise is far from over. The future of the James Bond franchise. While No Time to Die literally killed James Bond, the franchise will continue. Producer Barbara Broccoli recently said that the search for a new leading actor will begin in 2022, and directors have already begun throwing their hats in the ring for a chance to reboot the series. Before he directed No Time to Die, Cary Fukunaga approached the Bond producers with an idea for how to reboot the series, and recently said he'd be interested in directing another Bond movie after this one. There's also Dune and Sicario filmmaker Denis Villeneuve, who admitted it's still a dream of his to direct a Bond movie. And we can't rule out Christopher Nolan, who has long expressed his fandom for this franchise. For now, it's Daniel Craig's time in the sunset as fans celebrate his wildly impressive run. But after that, it's on to the next.